Macbeth, Act 2 Summary. Act 2, Scene 1. It is the night the murder is set to take place. Banquo enters the stage, along with his son Fleance. Banquo seems uneasy, commenting that the stars are all out, which suggests a disturbance in nature. Macbeth then enters, and Banquo admits he has been dreaming of the Weird Sisters and how they have showed truth to Macbeth. Macbeth claims that he thinks not of them, and they agree to meet again to discuss it. Banquo and Fleance exit, and Macbeth, now alone on the stage, sees a vision of a ghostly dagger floating in the air before his eyes. He is initially confused, questioning whether the dagger is real or just a figment of his imagination. The vision changes as the dagger appears covered in blood, and it seems to point him in the direction of Duncan's bedchamber. Eventually, Macbeth hears the bell, which indicates Lady Macbeth has drugged the guards, and leaves to murder Duncan. The key quote from this scene are the first two lines from his soliloquy. "Is this a dagger which I see before me? The handle toward my hand." Macbeth's question leaves the interpretation open as to whether it is a supernatural vision, perhaps sent by the Weird Sisters to manipulate him, or a sign of his traumatized mind. The dagger is both a symbol of Macbeth's bloody destiny and of the violent murder he's about to commit, and connects to the theme of violence, which recurs throughout the play. Act 2, Scene 2. Shakespeare does not stage Macbeth's murder of Duncan, perhaps as a mark of respect to the monarch, James I, for whom the play would have been performed. Instead, Lady Macbeth enters the stage, initially bragging of her own skill in having drugged the guards. She soon appears nervous, however, and her fears are proved correct when Macbeth enters, covered in Duncan's blood and carrying the daggers he used to kill the king. Macbeth rambles about a voice he heard in his head crying, "Sleep no more," a clear sign of his guilty conscience. Lady Macbeth takes charge and furiously asks him why he has not left the daggers with the servants. Macbeth refuses to return to the scene of the murder, so Lady Macbeth takes the daggers to smear the servants with the king's blood. She returns, and the pair are startled by a loud knocking, which Macbeth wishes could wake Duncan before they exit the stage. A key line for Macbeth in this scene is his guilty question, "Will all great Neptune's ocean wash this blood clean from my hand?" Here the blood on Macbeth's hands serves as a symbol of the guilt which now stains his soul. Furthermore, the reference to Neptune, the Roman god of the sea, serves as an exaggerated plea for the gods to wash clean his sin, which reveals Macbeth's desperate state of mind and regret for what he has done. Act 2, Scene 3. A drunken porter enters the stage. He complains of the knocking with the infamous lines, "Knock, knock, who's there?" before he drunkenly pictures himself as the porter of Hellgate, which is ironic considering that the king has in fact been murdered, something which the porter has no knowledge of. He eventually opens the door to Lennox and Macduff, who have arrived to arrange the king's departure. Macbeth enters, having cleaned himself from the blood of the king, and directs Macduff to Duncan's bedchamber. A few moments later, Macduff returns with the desperate revelation that our royal master's murdered. He then angrily calls for the household to wake. As the other thanes gather, Macbeth plays the perfect deceiver, claiming the king's death renders life pointless, before he admits to having killed the guards in a blinding rage once he discovered their supposed guilt. Lady Macbeth faints and is carried off the stage. After the thanes exit to discuss the plan, the king's sons, Malcolm and Donalbain, agree to flee to Ireland and England, respectively, as they both fear for their lives. The key quote from this scene is Macbeth's deceitful metaphor describing Duncan's body. "Here lay Duncan, his silver skin laced with his golden blood." Shakespeare employs language of symbolic wealth and power, which represents Duncan's purity and goodness, which again is ironic, considering it is Macbeth who uses them as a lie to cover his own guilty conscience. Act 2, Scene 4. In a short scene, which ends the second act, the Thane of Ross encounters an old man, and the pair discuss the strange disturbances in nature which have begun since the king's death. This conversation connects with the Jacobean belief that the death of a rightful king would upset the balance of nature itself. Macduff then arrives with the news that Macbeth is to be crowned king at Scone, the traditional location for coronations. The Witch'S Prophecies for Macbeth are now complete. In this scene, the old man's comment that a falcon, towering in her proud place, was by a mousing owl hawked at and killed, employs the motif of birds and nature to fulfil the witch's curse from Act 1. Fair is foul, and foul is fair. The falcon, a mighty bird of prey, is killed by a mousing owl, a weaker bird, hinting at the strange and unsettling twisting of nature which has resulted from Macbeth's treachery. The act ends with Macbeth about to be crowned king and his treasonous ambitions having been fulfilled. The audience is desperate to know if and how his crime will be discovered.